This video was made possible by the EA Creator Network and was captured on a work-in-progress build. What's up, everybody? It's C4, and today we're going to get a head start in our College Football 26 Dynasty mode rebuilds as we build the first meta talent development coach build so that we can maximize how much player XP we earn to develop that cupcake dynasty into a feared powerhouse. So after selecting Motivator as the base archetype for your head coach, I think quickly from a strategy standpoint, how you want to kind of plan out this entire dynasty with this coach, what do you want to do for your offensive and defensive coordinator? I kind of gave you two options here. For your offensive coordinator, you could go with, for honestly both of them, 100% player development, make them all specialists in master motivators. Going to give a nice little boost that's going to complement your head coach for player development and XP and the offseason training boosts and all XP gains for all these positions, etc., etc. It's very overpowered. So technically, if you are trying to make a 100% ultra meta player development build, that is the approach you're going to want to do. In my opinion, though, for something a little bit more realistic for your dynasties, I want my head coach, who when the end of this video is all said and done, is going to be the best talent developer in all of college. Okay? He's going to do the heavy lifting when it comes to player development. Now, you could also maybe just have one of your coordinators double up on Master Motivator, double up on the XP. I would probably say my preference here would be to look like Steven Belichick. I want my coordinators to be of the recruiter and strategist side of things from the coach abilities to complement the head coach that we're going to have for player development, because if you go all in on player development across all three coaches, right, where does that leave you? You're going to have all this XP boosts and gains stacking with one another, but you're not going to have a very easy time as far as finding the players that are worth using all of those XP boosts on. You're not going to be easily finding those high skill cap players. You're not going to be easily finding those high dev trait players. Those players that are going to get the maximum of our head coach that is the best talent developer in the nation. So I think if you go with something that has a little bit more of the recruiting background, which is going to give you boosts to literally every single aspect of recruiting, meaning taking players less time to fully scout, starting interest, higher likelihood in tier 3 of getting players in the transfer portal, working your way down to an elite recruiter, which is going to have obviously ideal pitch for all these different positions. Your school grades are going to have larger impacts. You're going to have recruiting actions have bigger impacts, and you're going to be able to increase your weekly recruiting hours. And if you get some more strategists, it's just going to continue to help with that process. Tier 1 is what it is. Tier 2 is going to help when it comes time for the transfer portal. Tier 4 as an increased chance to learn dev trait while scouting. And I talked about this in our first kind of coach build breakdown, which was the ultimate recruiter build, where mind reader is not as important as it was in College Football 25, because in College Football 25, dev traits did not go up or down, whereas in this year, it's not a death sentence if you have a very good player that has a normal dev trait, because if they perform well, they will have an opportunity to gain that dev trait, but still, no matter what way you break it down, Tier 4 mind reader is always an awesome asset to have, and especially in this build, where we're going to be trying to develop the best players. Well, why not get the players that out the box as high school recruits, day one freshmen, have the best dev traits, and you're going to be able to figure that out with Mind Reader. Now it's time to build our ultimate player developer at head coach. We're going to start in Motivator, and what you're going to want to do is spend 3 in every one of these first categories outside of specialist. And once you have 5 total players drafted, which you should be able to get that even on like the most cupcakey of dynasties, probably year 3, you should be hitting that. You're going to be able to have enough to get into Master Motivator, which is very, very nice. So by unlocking the first 3 tiers outside of Specialist in Base Motivator, you're going to be getting an interest boost for a given position when a current player from that position hits a skill cap. Like, that's not necessarily an overpowered ability, but it's certainly an asset to have. Tier 2 is just kind of a necessary evil that you had to buy. Doesn't really have a whole lot to affect player development, but you need to work your way down to Tier 3. Tier 3, put in work, is going to give all these different positions across the board an off-season training boost. Now, in College Football 25, kind of the consensus on YouTube, through the YouTube comments, on Reddit, was that this off-season training boost was like borderline RNG. No one could get an exact amount of boost that you were getting. And I wasn't really able to figure out through playing through college football 26, if there's like a consistent basis of like, I don't know if you're going to break it down into percentage or a certain amount of like threshold XP that you're going to get every single time. But regardless of if there's RNG or not, be it a big or small off-season training boost, an off-season training boost is still an off-season training boost at the end of the day, and that is where your players are going to get the most in terms of their growth and development. Yes, they earn XP throughout the regular season, but the off-season is where they make their biggest gains. And now that we have Master Motivator unlocked, we're going to follow the same strategy by unlocking the first 3 tiers. What you're going to get in Tier 1 is, again, not really important for player development, but also kind of is in a way because it's going to allow you to recover from wear and tear damage faster, which in turn could have your players, your starters, missing less time, which is going to have them on the field more, earning more XP. Tier 2, again, it's just more of a roster management upgrade, as it's going to have all these different positions with a less likely to transfer, where that is a big improvement in the sense of realism, because you're going to be it's going to be a rude awakening if you are used to, in college football 25, hoarding talent. I know I got very greedy when it came to offensive linemen. I would have like 3 right tackles that were all like sophomores and in the 80s. You are going to be losing those players. You are going to be fighting tooth and nail to keep those players from hitting the transfer portal. So this Tier 2 family atmosphere is going to help that, as it is a gigantic change from 25 to 26 with retaining your talent and preventing them from hitting the portal. But ultimately, you just want to get down to Tier 3. Tier 3 is maybe the most important upgrade in this entire coach build. Everybody eats for all these positions, which is going to increase all XP gains for every single position. Every time a player gets an XP boost, anytime they're in any number of experience, they are going to be getting an increase on that. So incredibly integral to this build. I would say step 3 in this build is you're going to want to go unlock the Tactician ability. Now, it costs 40 points, so it's a little expensive, it's a little annoying, but it is a necessary evil to unlock Tactician and to spend 50 points within Tactician, because we really just want to unlock Architect. Now, within Tactician, to spend your 50, it is kind of different strokes for different folks. I think, for me personally, I just want to look for the best value, the best bang for your buck. You could go Tier 1 in passing game, which is going to boost throw on the run and change of direction if you have a dual threat quarterback. I think there's value in the first 2 tiers on defensive line, which is going to boost change of direction and pursuit, as well as finesse move and block shed. I think there's a lot of value for your linebacker, especially if you're in a 3-4 defense. Get your edge rushers here, some finesse move and block shed, as well as pursuit and play rec in the first 2. I think, undisputedly, though, the best 2 in terms of value are the first 2 unlocks in blocking for your offensive linemen. Tier 1 and Tier 2 is going to boost our pass block and impact block and run block and lead block. Now, it may seem quick and easy to do because I've banked a lot of coach credits to kind of sit on here for the sake of this video, but ultimately, like, there's going to be seasons where it's going to take you quite a bit of time to work your way through this tree. So while you're kind of viewing Tactician as a necessary evil to unlock and spend the 50 points, also need to do the same thing with Recruiter. Unlock base Recruiter, spend your 50 points within Recruiter. It's just kind of doing the legwork so that eventually, once you have your 2 players drafted in the first round, you can unlock Talent Developer, which probably after base Motivator is going to be the second most important ability in this build. Now, in my opinion, for Recruiter, I would just unlock the first level of every single upgrade, which is just going to help you so much when you're setting that preseason recruiting board, and it's going to take all these positions and just make it less time to fully scout. And again, if you're going off my suggestion, you're going to have your offensive and defensive coordinator, at least one of them, specialize and be focused in Recruiter, so that the rest of these boosts are going to be covered by a member of your coaching staff, which are very nice to have. So once you have Ritty and Recruiter, once you have your 2 top 5 draft picks, the next ability is I would be spending my 30 to unlock Talent Developer. Once we're in Talent Developer, it is an expensive tree. Every upgrade is costing us 12 credits per, but look at what we're getting. I'm going 3 out of 4 on every single one. I went cheaper here on Talent Developer just so we had a little bit extra points in the end, and I just figure you're only getting really 1 starter with your starting running back here. Quarterback within itself, it's 1 starter, but it's a lot more valuable. And then you're getting, for this boost, starting wide receivers and tight ends. So that's 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, starting offensive lineman, you're getting 5 players worth of value. They're starting DB, you're getting 4 to 5 starters worth of value. Same with linebackers, same with defensive line. So there's just a little bit more value there than doubling up on your running back and fullback. But these upgrades are sick. Tier 1 is bonus XP for all these different positions when players are drafted. Now, it's one of those like balance things that you're probably not gonna like in your head if you're visioning this like, oh, I'm gonna be a cupcake team. I'm not really gonna have many players drafted. But by the time you're able to unlock and invest the way that we are in your dynasty rebuild, you're gonna have a program that likely is sending players to the NFL, having guys drafted, even if it's just, day 3 selections. It still counts. It is still XP boost. Tier 2, freshmen and sophomore players at all these different positions are going to progress faster, which is huge for player development. And then in Tier 3, starting players at the positions are going to gain XP faster. Honestly, Tier 4 is not a brutal section. If you have some extra points at the end of the build, boosting the pipeline bonus for all these players is going to be a nice way to complement your coaching staff, which are going to be doing the heavy lifting for recruiting. And while we aren't focused so much here on maximizing player XP, if you have extra points at the end of the day to boost your pipelines, why not? Now that we have talent developer all figured out, we're going to take a look back at architect, which we just unlocked. I just would prioritize your points into talent developer first, but you are still getting really nice player development boost within architect. Now within architect, more expensive unlocks costing 12 credits per, but very self-explanatory why all 3 of these first tiers are very applicable and very valuable. In Tier 1, all these different players are going to earn an XP bonus for every 3-game win streak. So if you're a pretty big program, that is not going to be overly difficult to happen probably multiple times within a season. When you get to Tier 2 field study, all these players are going to be earning additional XP for in-game goals. So College Football 26, very similar to College Football 25. They even broke it down in the blog that yes, you grow and develop and players earn XP throughout the regular season. You're probably going to feel that a little bit more in College Football 26 than you did at 25 because you can turn on manual progression. So you'll be able to go through your roster and upgrade the players as you see fit in a season. But you still are going to be seeing most of the growth and development in the off season. So anytime you can earn extra XP in season, it's just going to help speed up that process a little bit. And then with the Limitless upgrade, it is going to give you a chance to increase a random skill cap when leveling up. Now, I really wish they kind of would show the data, like what is the actual chance percentage on this. But skill caps can absolutely ruin a really, really fun player. So any chance, be it RNG or whatever have you, as an opportunity to get rid of some brutal skill caps, especially, hey, you got a guy that has really bad speed skill caps, especially at like maybe a wide receiver, tight end, or running back position. Just having a potential opportunity every single time they level up to get rid of a skill cap on an athletic attribute is a chance to be a huge, huge bonus. As far as like super endgame is concerned, once you somehow, for however long it takes you to unlock CEO, and you get that by winning 2 national championships, we have some very, very nice upgrades as far as player development is concerned. Now, there are 2 upgrades within CEO that I think are very, very valuable for this build. One is Senior Superlatives, which is going to increase all skill group caps by 1 for rising seniors. So those are juniors that are returning for their senior season. Late game, those players, like any game, cost a little bit more XP to develop, right? They're a little bit longer in the tooth. It's not as easy to develop in the same way that is a true freshman or a sophomore. So any boost that these guys have, your returning seniors, is going to be an added bonus, because for most franchises, especially even at this point in time of your dynasty rebuild where you've won 2 natties, your seniors that are returning likely are going to be your starters. So a chance to give them and raise their ceiling to develop even more, especially if they've already maxed out their skill caps because of this build, even min-maxing their freshman, sophomore, and junior campaign. They probably already have hit all their skill caps. So a chance for them, for the guys that decide not to declare early and to return for their senior season, you have something to grow because you just raised their ceiling with this upgrade, is very nice. But then we have, in my opinion, what might be the funnest upgrade in this whole build, which is Gains Getter, which is going to increase the chance that a player upgrades their dev trait. Now, probably my biggest banger tweet in relation to feedback in College Football 25, like a week after the game dropped, was how do we not have dev trait scenarios where guys can go up dev trait, especially when you be a small school. You can have a normal dev wide receiver that literally wins every award for a wide receiver, puts up 2,000 yards, puts up 20 touchdowns. You are locked in last year to whatever dev trait your player has. Now, I get maybe making this game experience, this gameplay loop feel a little different than Madden, where it's borderline pretty easy to get players to go up dev traits. Maybe increase the challenge for sure. Absolutely. But there should have never been any way, I thought, in my opinion, for how I like to enjoy my dynasties, that players had zero chance to improve their dev trait at any stage in their college career in college football 25. So the fact that they've gone in, revamped that, and given that ability in college football 26, and you can also buff this brand new feature with Gains Getter, yes, yes, times 10 and more yes. Thank you very much. They listened. Man, that is across the board in Dynasty mode. That is my feedback for college football 26. Not just because this is early content, not just because this is whatever, right? 100% from a strictly screw contracts, screw relationships with big companies as a person that loves to play franchise, dynasty, rebuild modes. College football 26 listened. Now, I'm not someone with a big, huge head that thinks, you know, they got to listen to me. I've been doing this for almost 15 years on you. They got to listen to me. But I swear to God, like 80% of my wish list of things I wanted to get fixed and improved from college football 25 into college football 26, donezo. And that is not necessarily just because of a me thing. I think I shared the same sentiment for a lot of the community. They listen to the community, and I think stuff like this, stuff like Gains Getter, stuff like dev trait increase goes a long way to show just how much they did. So there you have it, fellas. That is, in my opinion, at least for day one, the best player development, max player XP build for a coach in college football 26. I did a breakdown looking at maybe the best potential recruiting coach build, and the reason why I want to drop these two videos is because at the end of the day, I think for people out there that are looking to they just want to rebuild away. They want to start and do that long, grindy journey to go from cupcake to greatness. These are, in my opinion, from a rebuild standpoint, the two best coach builds. Either go on one side, go check out the other video, where it's just, I'm going to dominate the recruiting trail. I'm going to find out the best players, the best skill caps, the best dev traits, and then I'm going to let my OC and DC handle the player development. Or you have in today's build, where we're going to let our OC and DC facilitate and improve our recruiting cycle, but my head coach is going to develop the ever-living crap out of all these highly rated players. And with this approach, you can even find the low dev players. You can even find the low skill cap players, and you have all these different boosts that could potentially get a random skill cap gain. You could have all these different XP boosts that it's going to almost, I'm not going to say, it's definitely not going to make it meaningless. But if you do have like a normal dev player, you're going to be getting the most amount of XP that a normal dev player can get in this game, and you're going to give him the best chance to develop into the best possible player that he can be. So that being said, fellas, thank you very much for tuning into today's video. If there's any other tips and tricks, guides that you may want to see, please let me know in the comment section below. If it is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. We are into year 15 as a football content creator here on YouTube. Why not this year be the year old C4, gets a little bit of, the rocket gets strapped and we have a little bit of fun in this year's video game cycle. So hit that subscribe button if you just want to hop on the train before we start going off to the moon. There's going to be a lot more content coming your way, be it college football 26 Dynasty rebuilds, college football 26 Dynasty series, tips and tricks videos along the way, recruiting help. We got Madden 26 just around the corner with Madden 26 rebuilds, Madden 26 Dynasty. You're going to be eating good. If you enjoy what you saw today, why not stick around for that? But that'll do it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, until next time, it's your boy C4. Saying peace out, love ya. Have a good one.